Hi there, I'm Larissa from Erlkis, which stands for English Resource Lab, keeping it simple. In this video, I'm going to talk about two little symbols which you're definitely going to come across in your academic writing, if that's why you're watching, because you're a university student and you're writing essays, or maybe you're in business and you still get confused as to whether to use e.g. or i.e. Let's have a look at these two examples to see if you know whether you should use e.g. or i.e. Here we go. Prices for health cover will freeze, e.g. stop increasing annually. E.g. or i.e. If you used e.g., we need to say i.e., meaning that is. Let's have a look at another example. Two technology giants, Microsoft and Apple, have always been at the forefront. Did you say i.e. or e.g.? Well, if you said i.e., we're saying for example, so we use e.g. We're going to have a look in this video at both. So why don't we start off with looking at e.g. and then we'll have a look at i.e. And of course we're going to have examples and we're going to have a little bit of a tester at the end. So let's start off with e.g. E.g. is the Latin term exempli gratia, which simply means for example. If we use it in formal writing, so if you're doing academic writing, in essays, or even in business you can probably get away with using the symbols, but if you're writing essays, for example, so if you're writing essays, we would need to spell it out. We shouldn't use the symbol e.g. And because it means for example, that's what we need to spell out, for example. On the other hand, if you're in business and you might be writing a blog for a website, maybe you're writing a newsletter for your company, you don't necessarily need to be too formal about it. You can use the abbreviated symbol version. Well, we're going to look at how to use that because we can use it informally with parentheses and without parentheses where we use commas. So why don't we have a look at some examples where we use e.g. in formal writing, followed with more casual use, both with parentheses and without. So let's start with the formal example. Two technology giants, for example, Microsoft and Apple, have always been at the forefront. And at the forefront means that they're the leaders. Here we're spelling it out, for example. The use of memes and slogans are vastly used in fashion, for example, t-shirts. So if you're writing about these two topics and you're writing an essay, then we would spell it out. Let's have a look at it if you're writing a newsletter or a blog for the internet, or you can just use the symbols. First, we're going to look at it with parentheses and then without. So if we're writing it in less formal terms, we can even use less formal words. Two cyber giants, e.g. Microsoft and Apple, have always been at the forefront. Here we can see we're using the symbols e.g. We use two dots with the parentheses. Second example, the use of memes and slogans are massively used in fashion, e.g. for example, t-shirts. Now, let's have a look at it where we can use it still informally, but we don't need the parentheses. But we still need the two dots because it's the acronym, but we're using commas instead. So less formally would be two cyber giants, e.g. for example, Microsoft and Apple, have always been at the forefront. Here we are using e.g. obviously with the 2 dots and then a comma. The use of memes and slogans are massively used in fashion, e.g. with the 2 dots followed with a comma, for example, t-shirts. So there we have e.g., for example. Now let's have a look at i.e., meaning that is. Now, the Latin term for i.e. is id est, which simply means that is. It's also pretty close to these 3 terms in essence. That is to say, the full extended version, or in other words. So we have these 3 different options to use for i.e. Now, again, we only need to use it in lowercase. We don't need it in uppercase. If we're writing essays, for example, or very formal writing, we need to spell it out, meaning that is. And if we're using it less formally, well, then we use the symbol and we can look at it with parentheses and without. So why don't we have a look at some examples starting with the formal use of i.e. Prices for health cover will freeze. That is to say, stop increasing annually. And number 2, this device is needed to ameliorate efficiency. In other words, cost cutting. Now the word ameliorate simply means to make better. But I'm talking here about using it in academia. Ameliorate is a great word. So coming back and looking at i.e., here we have that is to say, or in other words. Let's now look at it with less formal use. And here we can just use the symbol, i.e. We don't have to spell it out. Again, let's have a look at it with parentheses and then let's have a look at it without parentheses. Prices for health cover will freeze, i.e. stop increasing annually. That is to say. Number 2, the device is needed for more efficiency. That is to say, cost cutting. Now, before we have a look at without the parentheses, let's just have a quick look at whether to use i.e. or e.g. if you're still confused. Let's look at the first sentence again. Prices for health cover will freeze. In other words, stop increasing annually. Stop increasing annually isn't an example. It's simply the same thing but said in different words. That's why we know that we should use i.e. and not e.g. And in the second example, the device is needed for more efficiency. Cost cutting isn't an example of that. It's simply restating the same thing using different words. That's why we know to use i.e. and not e.g. So, let's have a look at it now without parentheses using the commas. Prices for health cover will freeze, i.e. dot comma, stop increasing annually. And the second one, this device is needed for more efficiency, i.e. with a comma, cost cutting. Always ask yourself whether you don't know whether to use e.g. or i.e. Is the additional information that you're stating, is it an example? Is it extra information? Or is it sort of saying the same thing as the first part of the sentence? Because if it's saying the same thing in different words, you know you should be using i.e. But if you're adding additional information, such as examples, then we say e.g. Now, let's have a look at a quick activity. Let's look at these examples. Permanent residence. Council permits are permitted 24-hour parking. Do we say i.e. or do we say e.g.? Is council permits an example of permanent residence? No. It's simply suggesting it's the same thing. if you are a permanent resident and you need 24-hour parking, you will automatically have council permits. So we say IE, that is to say, people with council permits. Now let's look at this sentence. We can use a number of symbols to indicate measurement. Centimetres, millimetres, kilograms. Is this an example, or are we saying the same thing? If you said example, ding ding, you're correct. Because it is an example. We're not saying the same thing. We're giving additional information. So there we have it. Let's do a quick recap. IE stands for that is. EG stands for example. When you're writing for academic purposes in formal writing, spell it out, don't use the symbols. However, in casual writing, if you're in business or writing a newsletter or whatever, you can use the symbols, and you can use it both in parentheses with no commas or without parentheses but with a comma. And there you have it. I hope that this has been cleared up for you. I hope that you now know when to use IE and EG with confidence. So, if you enjoyed this video, click subscribe now and the bell, because we're going to be putting out a whole heap of new videos this year. Thanks for watching. I'm Larissa. Bye for now.